let's continue. Oh, this is Mr. Ginger. His fluffy appearance is quite adorable. Oh, sorry. Your Honors, I hope you're both well. Old Belle, fancy joining me for a cuppa later? You're still as refined as ever, Herman. Sir Belle, I'd have expected that this small case would also stir your involvement. The court summoned my granddaughter to testify. I'm with her. Will this cause inconvenience? No, of course not. Excuse me, are you the wizard? Yes. Cece, I've told you. In the courtroom, you can't speak without permission. Okay, Mr. Lion. Children's words are harmless. They won't cause trouble. Judge Guan, shall we start the trial? Witness Cece, please describe the circumstances of how your cat, Mr. Ginger, went missing. Meow. That night, oh no, this music, Mr. Tin Woodman, Mr. Ginger and I went to see magic. After the show, Mr. Tin Woodman left Chapwood. Mr. Ginger and I took a pumpkin carriage home. On the way home, I fell asleep and woke up to a noise. And I found Mr. Ginger was gone. Thankfully, Mr. Scarecrow found him later. Pumpkin carriage? Scarecrow? Magic? This... Cece has a vivid imagination and likes to narrate her experiences using fairy tales. Mr. Joseph, may I ask Cece some questions? Of course. Magic? Cece, can you tell me about the magic show that night? Someone stole Miss Witch's cards, but luckily she had enchanted them. She could call their names without even looking, and the magic worked. The cards suddenly turned into flowers, then the flowers into a dove. It flew away. Blindfolded card guessing, playing cards turning into flowers. This is Julia's magic trick, the wonderful hands. The woodman chopping firewood. Are you talking about Mr. Tin Woodman chopping wood? Mr. Tin Woodman has a sharp axe that can split any wood. After the show, he took his axe to chop wood so Cece could stay warm. Huh? I didn't understand that at all. Cece, can you explain it to Mr. Scarecrow in a simpler way? After all, I haven't got a real brain yet. Nah. Let me explain Cece's words. After the show, Woodman Bell had some work to attend to, so the driver took Cece home first. Ah, I see. Pumpkin carriage. Can you tell me what this pumpkin carriage is? Pumpkin carriage is simply that. A pumpkin carriage, Mr. Scarecrow. Haven't you tried one? Huh? Well, I guess not. Cece, is a pumpkin carriage pulled by horses? There is no horses, because Mr. Coachman can do magic. He just spins the wheel in his hand and the pumpkin carriage flies. I understand now. It's a car. Taxi? Sound heard. Cece, what does the noise that woke you up sound like? It's a really loud noise. Could it be the sound of a gunshot? A loud bang? No, it wasn't a bang. It was a dong dong dong. A very loud thud 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 sound. Could it be the sound of a clock striking? Cece, how many bells set did you hear? Mr. Ginger, do you remember? Meow. Neither Cece nor Mr. Ginger remember. What do you think of Cece's testimony? By combining the testimony with this evidence, we can infer the time when Mr. Ginger went missing. Oh. 9. You know what this is? Huh? Is it Miss Witch's picture? Did she perform magic for you on the night that Mr. Ginger went missing? Yeah, she did. Miss Witch turned the cards into flowers. Mr. Ginger went missing after the magic performance, which is after 8:45 p.m. time he was locked in the cellar cannot be before that. And at 8:30 p.m., Mr. Shen had already been arrested. Yes, indeed. Judge Kwan, Mr. Joseph, the person who opened the secret door to the cellar is the real culprit. Regarding the counsel's argument, does the prosecutor have anything to say? How did Mr. Ginger leave the car? The defense counsel's doubts are valid. I lost. Prosecutor Bell, I have never seen you admit defeat in court before. Mr. Ginger's revelation overturns all my previous logic. If the murder occurred at 8 p.m., the person entering the cellar would have found the body. However, this person showed no signs of it, which is illogical. Joseph, you have never lost in court before. This experience of failure can also be considered a kind of gain. Bell! Mr. Bell! Judge Kwan, since Mr. Bell has spoken, shall we bring this case to a close? Judge Herman and I are on the same page. Is the sergeant going to object? Then please bring the defendant to the court. Oh, maybe not. Although the true culprit of this case has not been caught yet, the suspicions of the defendant have been cleared. If there are no objections, I will proceed with the verdict. What's gonna happen? Don't say a word, Fu. Let it happen. The trial of Shen Junping, a Chinese accused of shooting and murdering Stone Wu. Verdict for the defendant, Shen Junping, is not guilty. Yeah! Koshin, we finally won! This battle was really not easy. We could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you all for your hard work. This trial will adjourn. Wait a minute. That voice. Shen? Shen? The trial cannot end yet, because the true culprit of this case is right here in the courtroom. Mr. Shen, you already found out who the real culprit is. Judge Kwan, please order a temporary lockdown of the court, or there will be another murder. But this isn't the international settlement. The Shanghai governor has this authority. Would you reveal the suspect's name? The police will take control of them. This case is not just about capturing the culprit. There's a mastermind hiding in the shadows. The mastermind? This case is not just a single case. It has intricate connections to an old case I have been investigating for 3 years. It is also related to the recent high-profile theft case. Mr. Shen, the jurisdiction of this court is limited to your alleged murder of Stone Wu. Whether it is accusing the true culprit or reporting the thief, please go to the police station. After the police verify the information, the prosecutor can initiate legal proceedings. No, if the trial ends now, there'll be another bloodshed for sure. Judge Herman, how about following Mr. Shen's suggestion and sealing off the court first? It wouldn't hurt to unseal it after the person he accuses has been arrested and detained. Judge Kwan, how can we be sure that the person he accuses should be detained? Just in case, you know. Your Honors, you can detain me as well. If I make a mistake, I am willing to bear the responsibility for false accusations and framing. Judge Herman, it's a matter of life and death. I think we better believe it. It's up to you, Judge Kwan. But I'm sorry to ask you all to wait in this courtroom for a while. Guards, lock down all entrances and exits of the courtroom. Locking down. We are so locking down all of the things. Report. Mixed courtroom has been locked down. No one is allowed to enter or leave without permission. Thank you for your assistance. Why did Toby Cheng give us Shen's briefcase? John, please share your analysis. Oh, okay. Deductions made by Fu and Miss Wen regarding the murderer's modus operandi are reasonable. It's true that I retrieved the pistol from locker 212. Previously, as a suspect, my testimony was not accepted. Now, you should be able to believe someone is using the police's arrest operation to frame me. As the arrest is confidential, the framing can succeed only if two major prerequisites are met. First, the framer has insider information on the theft case and uses it to facilitate the arrest. Second, the framer had the opportunity to hide the gun in the theater locker. The person with the information on the theft and the chance to hide the gun appears to be... Oh boy. Oh boy. This is kind of a big accusation here. The theater alone. I think it's Toby. I think it's Toby. False. I know now. The person who framed Shen is Toby Cheng. Friends counsel, who is Toby Cheng? Toby Cheng is a reporter from the Shanghai News. He's passionate about reporting the theft case. It's highly likely that he provided the false information. He was also in the Lyceum Theater when Shen was arrested. He even took photos to frame him. Oh, that was the photo that Toby took. Oh, this should be a coincidence. Toby Cheng is likely the one who hid the gun. Defense counsel, do you have any evidence for these accusations? If Toby Cheng is indeed a suspect, I command the police to apprehend him immediately. You don't have concrete evidence at the moment, but he's one of the suspects in the murder case of Shen's brother and has a motive to frame Shen. Afu, your suspicion towards Mr. Cheng has some validity. But he is not the one who framed me. I need to think more about it. Who? Insider information about the theft. Wait, Mr. Bell? No, Mr. Bell has an alibi for that night. We're gonna game over. Oh, guessed right, third try. All right, person who meets both conditions is none other than Sergeant Singh. I knew you would try to pin the blame on me. Are you saying that when Officer Wu testified, you realized you had been exposed? In light of the case, we received orders to gather at the Lyceum Theater at 7:15 p.m. Oh. We had learned Sergeant Singh received a tip-off. Sergeant Singh said he searched all the lockers. Yep, they were all empty. You put the gun in the locker when you were checking them, didn't you? Hey, you. So you think this clumsy ploy can deceive me? You're just seeking revenge on me. Sergeant Singh, the secret arrest operation should be known only to you and the police involved. And you were the only one who went to the theater alone. It wasn't you who put the gun in, then who else could it be? The operation was solely to track down that sly thief. I arranged the operation only after receiving the tip-off. Sergeant Singh, can you show us the tip-off? There's no harm in showing it to you. Shanghai Phantom will transfer stolen goods through Lyceum Theater's locker at 8:30 p.m., September 14th. Suspicious! The tip-off is not signed. The letters on it looked like they were cut out from a newspaper. The style of note is identical to the other 2 notes Shen received. Wonder where this tip-off came from. That's confidential. Why should I tell you? The person who provided the tip-off is likely the one who killed Mr. Wu and framed Mr. Shen. Don't you want to capture them? You. Sergeant Singh, please disclose the source of the tip-off. As a prosecutor, I have the authority to know this information. It was an anonymous letter received in the reward mailbox. Is that all? I swear by the Guru, what I said is true. It's because the murderer was too cunning. He misled us with a false tip-off. May I ask, Sergeant Singh, how many arrest operations were organized on the evening of the 14th? There was only one, of course. It's just getting strange. Since letters in the reward mailbox triggered the arrest, why didn't this piece of evidence? Let's save, just in case. But remember Officer Wu mentioned something about clues regarding the reward for the theft case. After the reward was announced, reports flooded in like snowflakes. Most of them were hearsay and baseless rumors, adding more confusion to the investigation. I've also seen a few letters that predicted the activities of the thief on September 14th. I asked Sergeant Singh, what is so special about this letter? So that among so many leads, only this one triggered the arrest operation. Well, got him. I have been serving as sergeant for many years. Naturally, I have my own judgment. How did you make your specific judgment? Reward letters usually include an address as the informant's goal is to claim the reward. But this letter didn't leave anything. Experience and intuition told me this information might be true, so I arranged the arrest. It's not unreasonable for Sergeant Singh to take action based on experience. I'm afraid I have been manipulated by the murderer. Mr. Shen, do you have anyone else to accuse? Please hurry. Judge Kwan, the letter is new evidence. I need to examine it more carefully. Oh, okay. Sergeant Singh's reasons seem to make a little sense. Are you still suspicious of him? It's not that simple. Let's see if we can find some clues from the letter. Shen, this anonymous letter and the 2 notes you received look very familiar. Letters on them were all cut from elsewhere and then pasted together. It's highly likely the work of the same person. Paper used for printing is thin and rough, like newspaper. Let me smell. This ink smell is undoubtedly from a newspaper. Rotate. Shen, it seems like there are other words on the back of this letter. But it's not very clear. Try holding it up to the light. Oh, there are indeed words. Too messy. It's difficult to distinguish. When you find a way to remove the paper fragments, try heating it up with fire to melt the adhesive. Oh no, I burned it. Oops, I burned it, glass onion style. It should also be done. Alright. Hanyang? Hanyang? Why would Hanyang be mentioned suddenly? Is this your report, Koshin? Shanghai Phantom. We sin. When, Koshin? It's you, Koshin. What is it about me? Don't speak without thinking. Olympe. should be Olympiad, as I know. London is currently hosting the games of the 4th Olympiad. These paper fragments were all cut from newspapers. I'm currently looking at the backside of the newspaper content. Stream. Favorite live streamer. Tired. Razor. Lupin. In that case, the Shanghai Phantom actually has some similarities to Lupin. Hat. There's a picture on the back of a paper fragment. It looks like a hat. There are 3 partial words, each only half. It's like the words holding a gun. This hat, the more I look at it, the more familiar it becomes. It's Shen's hat. Mouth harder. It's mouth washing too. Mouth harder. Prison. Oh, let's skip this word. It's okay, let's keep looking. Friend pictures. 4. Oh, numeral 4, not very common. Should refer to the games of the 4th Olympiad. Will you send a team to participate someday? Shen, I got it. Pattern on the back of the Lyceum Theater. It's your hat. Got an achievement for that, indeed. Could it be that the person writing the anonymous letter is trying to imply something? Are there any traces of progressing, or processing, or touch-ups on these paper fragments? No, they're all ink printed. Do you remember which newspapers have published my photos? Remember now, it's that article. Detective Shen Chengping arrested last night. Why broke into the theater holding a gun? The answer is quite obvious then. What it's saying, the anonymous letter you presented is forged. Oh. He forged this one after the arrest. Clever boy. How? How dare you say that? The paper fragments on this anonymous letter we cut from a newspaper. This fragment is special. On its back is a drawing of Shen's head with the words holding a gun. It comes from an article of Shanghai News on September 15th. Detective Shen Chengping arrested last night. I broke into the theater holding a gun. The anonymous letter was not fabricated afterwards. How could there be news of Shen's arrest on the back of the paper fragment? Nah. The news press. The person who wrote the anonymous letter is from the news press. Shanghai News is a daily newspaper, printed and sold on the same day. Even the newspaper editors cannot obtain the newspaper a day in advance. Ugh. Sing, did you kill Stone Moo? You had dealings with him? You're not saying anything, so that means you're admitting it, right? Ah, yes, the days before right to remain silent. Sergeant Singh, we don't know each other, having briefly met that afternoon in the store. You wouldn't unjustly frame me unless someone instigated you to do so. No, that's not true. No one instructed me. You're hiding something. Why did you set Shen up? Enough, I admit it. It was me, I did it all. Silence. Sergeant Singh, why did you kill Stone Moo? He had evidence against me. He threatened me many times, so I killed him to silence him. And why did you frame Mr. Shen? Because he was a perfect scapegoat, and he happened to cross paths with me. Well, it does make sense. What does Judge Hammond think? Since Sergeant Singh has already confessed, let the police take custody of him. This case has had its twists and turns. but the truth will finally come to light. No, that's still not the truth. Mr. Shen, do you have anything to add? Sergeant Singh framed and set me up, but he is not the murderer of Stone Wu. Shen Ping, I've already confessed. What else do you want? According to Miss Wen and Fu's deduction on the modus operandi, Sergeant Singh had a concrete alibi. He couldn't have been at the store committing murder. This can't be possible. Sergeant Singh's alibi. I think I've heard the police officers mention it. Didn't sleep well last night? Didn't sleep well. I already stopped. Is that all because of the shooting case? Sergeant Singh, see himself, arrested in interrogations. Nobody was allowed to leave. Take a nap. I'll take control. If Sergeant Singh's not the murderer, then who could it be? The murderer is familiar with the store, knows about the cellar and where Stone Wu hid the gun. More importantly, when I saw this person again, there was an additional mark on their body. It was formed during the commitment of the crime. Only with a foreign goods store, the distinctive mark on the body. Oh boy. Well, the answer is obviously Mr. Ginger. I must be mistaken. That person could be the murderer. Let me think again. Both of you are so hesitant and undecided, I believe there's no need to wait any longer. Oh, okay. Judge Kwan, since Singh's already confessed, shall we conclude today's proceedings? Yes, I think so. Maybe this Batman will give us a hint. I think we're going to go back to Toby Cheng now. I think that's the reason why Shen asked Toby to give us his briefcase, which is not come up again in any context. Because that's... Shen granted Toby an exclusive interview to see him after the murder. So Shen would be able to identify any chains that would have happened that Shen is referencing here. So I think it's Toby. In case anyone with Singh's arrest sent to England for trial, but soon released due to insufficient evidence. Failed! Oh, thank you. Actually, I'm going to save again. Here, since it helpfully gave me all my health back. The murderer would be Toby Cheng? We're gonna... As in the first trial, Miss Lee can provide an alibi for Mr. Cheng. Right. Oh, after leaving the theater, she was with Toby Cheng. Well, think again. Bollocks. Okay, this is a genuine... uncertainty here. Genuinely don't know. Maybe with the store knows what the cellar and where Stone Wu hid the gun. Saw this person again, there was an additional mark on their body. Officer Lee? No. Policemen involved were busy interrogating him. They have alibis. Miss Lee? Miss Lee's an alibi? Hmm. Mr. Pell? Yes, he has an alibi. Running out of choices here. Definitely not you. Definitely not you. Hmm. This feels like one where, if it is even true and not the joke ending, it involves a detail that I don't remember from playing earlier. Shen, I figured it out. It's actually Ting Sang, who's the true culprit. That's right. The person who killed Stone Wu was Ting Sang, the assistant to the store. How could it be her? Ting Sang, please come to the court. I'm sorry for causing trouble. I was just curious about what the trial would be like. Ting Sang, do you have anything to say regarding Mr. Shen's accusations? Mr. Shen is right. It's all my fault. The boss must have been killed because of me being hired. I often messed things up and made him unhappy. Just a cursed person, always bringing misfortune to others. I truly regret it. If I hadn't taken the job at the foreign goods store, boss, this wouldn't have happened. Mr. Shen, are you sure Ting Sang is the murderer? She appears to be timid and harmless. Ting Sang, there's something I'm curious about. I heard you were there for the initial investigation and helped the police with the inventory. But the police officers didn't discover the cellar in the study. Did Mr. Wu ever mention it to you? I don't know. I've only been at the foreign goods store for a short time, still adjusting to everything. It's all my fault. I didn't work hard enough. I could have gained more trust for the boss. Maybe he would have told me important things. Mr. Shen, do you have evidence to prove that Ting Sang is the culprit? Who did you notice? There's a mark on Ting Sang's body, which was made during the crime. Eh? Swollen skin and blisters on both wrists. Ah! Ting Sang, if you didn't know there was a cellar in the study, how do you explain the frostbite on your wrist? Oh! There is indeed a frostbite mark on Ting Sang's wrist. Could it be that she, like Mr. Ginger, came into contact with dry ice? It's September. The weather is still warm. It's not from contact with dry ice. How could Ting Sang have frostbite on her wrist? I wonder what dry ice is. It's solidified carbon dioxide used mainly for preservation in carbonated drinks, rarely found. Dry ice is extremely cold and can cause frostbite when it comes into contact with the skin. A few days ago, while helping my boss move fish, I accidentally came into contact with dry ice. The appearance of the frostbite wounds varies in different stages of the healing process. Well, I meant that morning, Mr. Shen and you came. No need to lie anymore, Ting Sang. Ting Sang, please take care of Miss Lee. Okay, sure. When we visited, there were no injuries on your hand. Not only did I see it, Officer Wu, Miss Lee, and a Fu can all testify to it. Yes. Shen, you are indeed correct. That time Ting Sang had no injuries on her hand. You're not the mastermind either. Not by a long shot. At this stage, are you still unwilling to discard the disguise? Oh. It seems that this introverted persona is truly unsuitable for the courtroom. What? Oh, hi. When did you figure it out? Hello there. After afternoon at the store, I noticed the calluses between your right thumb and index finger. It's a typical sign of prolonged use of firearms. You're indeed interesting. No wonder you have such a great reputation. I made a mistake earlier. Unfortunately, at that time, I just found it strange. I wasn't truly alarmed. Until I discovered you came to the courtroom in disguise, I fully confirmed my suspicions. What suspicions? You were hired to kill, and your purpose was to silence. So, Mr. Shen, what do you think? Why did I come here? You could have escaped, but instead you risked it all by showing up at the trial for one reason. Your mission is not yet finished. Oh, how I want to open and see that clever brain of yours. Guards, quickly, arrest her. Wait, Judge, I still have questions for her. Detain her, at least. Mr. Shen, I know what you want to ask. However, I only speak the truth to the dead. If I'm not mistaken, all of this is to cover up the truth of my brother's murder. John, what have you discovered during this time? What do you think is the truth of the case from years ago? Oh. Awkward loading screen. 4 days ago in the police station's prison cell. Oh, the stabbing case. Mr. Shen, it's time to eat. Oh, wow. Yep. This is indeed Shen's inventory. Thank you, Officer Wu. Just put it on the ground. Okay, I'll collect it later. Why bother pretending to be diligently investigating the case? You know very well that after Stone Wu's death, all the previous efforts have been in vain. I've said it. That is none of your business. You've wasted 3 years of your time, and now you're even landed yourself in prison. Yet you're still being stubborn. Face the reality, John. The one who killed your brother was himself. Young man, I'll say this one last time. Your brother's had recent bruising on his fingertips. Similarly, there are fresh scratches on the chair legs where he was sitting. This indicates that he was still conscious shortly before his death. But with your suggested method, unconscious person awaiting death from a falling dagger should still be considered suicide. When the coroner examined the body, there were no signs of localized anesthesia. Speculate your brother held the dagger through his shirt sleeves. No fingerprints were left. My parents passed away early. My brother took care of me as I grew up. I know he was incredibly resilient. Out of the challenges, he would never give up long life. John, I understand your feelings. Everyone's doing their best, be it you or us. Please sign here. Sign it or not. The body's preservation period is up. You'll be cleared for the cold storage tomorrow. Aye, sign away, John. Time to look forward. Later, you were forced to sign the document, but you were also determined to find the murderer. Over the next 3 years, you traveled between China and the UK, gathering every possible clue. You thoroughly investigated every person mentioned in the case files and anyone related to them. You could form their detailed revenge plans for each person as if they were all criminals. The information you collected has filled the entire room, becoming too much to carry around. So you memorized all that details and cross-referenced them in your mind. And all this has exceeded the limits of what your brain can process. Mr. Shen, listen to me. Strongest crossbows can't pierce gowns at their end. Shen, you need to rest. Don't overexert yourself. 3 years of hard work and yet no results. Have you ever considered that what you're trying to prove might be fundamentally wrong? I know, all those doctors said that you would never be able to speak again. But I won't give up. No, you're the one oversimplifying the issue. Brian's murder scene matches the depiction in Death Under the Kaisan. It can't be coincidence. It's a case of copycat crime. Murderer is someone who knows the content of the novel. It seems you've hit a wall and still refuse to turn back. You don't even know who Sinosura is, and yet you want to find other people. How could I not know Sinosura is? Stone Wu? Haha, you must be kidding. I have no clue with writing a novel. Stone Wu indeed doesn't seem like someone who would write novels. Oh, then who do you think Sinosura is? Honestly, it could be Brian. My intuition tells me that Brian is the author of Death Under the Kaisan. I dream of a detective solely based on intuition. Why would I think that way? Evidence suggests that the book was written by Brian. Both what Stone Wu said and the photo indicate Brian has been to the Wu family's ancestral hall. That is my family's ancestral hall. How did you know that? Oh, it must be Brian who told you. Sinosura, inspired by the Kaisan in the hall, wrote Death Under the Kaisan. Sinosura, at heaven's very heart. Sinosura is the North Star. How could I not have thought of that? Sinosura is the star that remains fixed in the sky, always staying at the northern celestial pole. No matter how far away from home, as long as you find Sinosura, you can find your way back home. We found Sinosura. If Brian is Sinosura. Well, you know what that implies. Acquaintance, the murderer is an acquaintance of Brian in London. This person is not only familiar with his life, but also familiar with this novel. I've investigated everyone he knows. Does such a person exist? There aren't many acquaintances of Brian in London. They all have solid alibis. Avid reader? Murderer is an avid reader of Death Under the Kaisan, but it would never be published. Such a person would attempt to recreate the murder method depicted in this story. The book has not been publicly published. No indication that this novel has been circulated in London. Be that the murderer stumbled upon the novel by chance. He developed hostility toward Brian due to certain plots in the novel. The novel has never been published. Where did this hostility come from? Be more inclined to waste time on these far-fetched assumptions. I would then confront the real answer. Real answer? Nobody knew the answer. Oh no. Oh boy. Oh. Why though? Would clear up the faults in the... Brian, I understand now. The question has never been whether or not, but rather why. Oh? Zhongbing, let's find the truth together. What? Oh. Double Mind Palace. All objects and all images settle in different locations, sequentially. Oh. Whoa. Alright. Most distress telegram at 2:05 p.m. English paper. Bruxine and Nux Vomica. Surprisingly, the nearby Westminster police station did not receive the alarm. Why the person would send the letter? Okay. Hmm. 228. Alright. This research paper about brucine was found on Stone Moo's desk. The paper mentions a new drug called brucine that can be extracted from the Nux Vomica plant. And if you believe Brian's occurrence of ophistonus is due to strychnine poisoning. Toxicological tests show that there is no strychnine residue in Brian's body. A new drug called brucine is likely responsible for causing ophistotonus in Brian's body. On the day of the murder, someone did use the telegraph machine, but not to retrieve the key. As Brian set up the trap of the room, perhaps he also sent the alarm telegram. Sending the time of the alarm telegram is very close to the moment of Brian's death. As if the person who sent the alarm was at the scene of the murder. Brian got poisoned and set up the... Oh fuck. Did it just click for me? Someone did kill Brian with poison, but Brian also set up the murder thing on himself to draw attention to Shen. I think that's what we're going for here. The person who sent the alarm was at the scene of the murder. This perspective, that would shit, that works. This perspective, it's not someone else who sent the telegram, but Brian himself. Alright. It's evident that Brian had already become aware of being poisoned, closely watched. This what prompted him to choose suicide. Seeking help? Indeed, with so many possibilities, it's difficult to draw a conclusion. Alright. Let's think about this for a second. Brian knows he was being poisoned under close surveillance. Something, nope. Brian Rain's Bex has been sent a telegram right before his death. Clearly he wanted the police to be the first one to discover his death scene. There'll be some special motive behind this. Alright. Normally this case is to be handled by Westminster Police Station. It's closer to the scene. Due to the receipt of the alarm telegram, Kensington became involved in the case. Is the purpose behind Brian's decision to go further away for help? Yes, it must be for this person. No. Brian didn't know Sergeant Gaunt. Consider. Oh, Joseph. Joseph would have known the book. Brian's friend Joseph was serving as sergeant at the Kensington Police Station. Brian sent the telegram to him. Realized that he couldn't escape the fate of death, so he left some clues at the scene for Joseph. He was been very desperate at the moment. He had no choice but to be cautious of everyone. We conveyed the message. Yes, Joseph was the novel. Brian wouldn't do anything meaningless before his death. His suicide by imitating the methods in death under the Kaisan must be related to his purpose. It's very likely his means of conveying his message. Why was he so certain that Joseph would be able to understand his intention? Joseph knows of the book. Alright, welcome back to the Conan Doyle Book Club. Enjoy the return. Joseph. Yeah, both members of the Conan Doyle Book Club. It's highly likely that Brian showed Joseph Death Under the Caisson before. Joseph took the book. The missing book is likely the manuscript of Death Under the Caisson. Joseph took it with him. There, Brian must have left his death note inside. Hey! The case years ago, my brother indeed set up the mechanism and stabbed himself in the chest. You have finally accepted the truth. How could this happen? Even so, the case left behind many mysteries. Among them, the one that puzzles me the most is... Joseph, you clearly know better than me the connection between the crime scene and that novel. Why did you hide it from me? In the book you took from the scene, there's something my brother left for you, right? What? My brother sent a telegram to Kensington, at least to the Kensington department before he died, for you as his best friend. It was to ensure that you could enter the scene as soon as possible. Joseph, are you still planning to keep it a secret? Alright, we're cooking. What do you know, Joseph? In fact, it was Brian's intention to keep it from you. What? What do you mean? I met Brian at the Conan Doyle Book Club. He loved Conan Doyle's novels and even attempted to write his own. This notebook contains all of his manuscripts, and Brian only showed them to me. Death Under the Caisson is my favorite piece. He even recreated the tricks mentioned in the books in his study. Unexpectedly, in the end, he reminded me to read the notebook in such a way. What else is in the notebook? Beside the novel manuscript, there's also a research report on cocaine tucked in the notebook. Joseph handed the notebook to Shen Chunping. Opium cessation. He was working on an opium cessation. I think I heard you mention the name croc before. That is a plant. Brother learned about cocaine from an article by Freud and studied it for many years. By Freud? According to the research report, he discovered a new drug, cocaine, for the croc plant. He wanted to develop an opium cessation drug to suppress withdrawal symptoms after opium addiction. Unfortunately, his research did not ultimately succeed. Is it because the new drug cannot effectively suppress opiate addiction? On the contrary, patients quickly get rid of their dependence on opium after using the new drug. Without exception, they develop a strong craving for the new drug. Oh. Are you saying that after years of studying cocaine, he invented something more addictive? Instead of developing a quit-smoking medication, he ended up with a more potent drug than opium. On the research materials left by Brian, it appears to be the case. Oh boy. What my brother did was to entrust these documents to you. I think, yes. Getting more confused. If Brian just wanted to hand over the documents to Mr. Joseph, why did he commit suicide? He did this for... Joseph, let me take care of this. Eh? Oh, old Bell. You're familiar with what happened back then. Brian's research project was funded by me. The tragedy of 3 years ago, I still find it regrettable to this day. Officer, quickly, fetch a chair for Mr. Bell. Eh? Oh boy, all right. When Joseph introduced Brian to me, his research was under the suppression of the Sassoon family. The Sassoon family? The Jewish tycoon that prospered with the opium trade. Exactly. At that time, Brian faced numerous difficulties, almost being forced to drop out. I funded him with a sportive mindset, and unexpectedly his research soon yielded results. A year later, he successfully crafted the initial version of the opium cessation drug. Regrettably, in clinical trials, the drug demonstrated a significant risk of addiction. A patient who self-administered a large dose became highly agitated and succumbed to arrhythmia. This incident left Brian profoundly remorseful and plunged him into deep confusion. In subsequent research, Brian consistently tried to decrease the amount of cocaine in the drug. Finally successfully formulated a reagent capable of eliminating fatigue and uplifting mood. But with prolonged observation, subjects still showed tendencies toward drug abuse and addiction. Shortly afterward, tragedy struck again. The patient who took the drug had strong hallucinations and ignited a fire in the hospital. Oh, Jesus. This devastating fire became the final straw that broke Brian's mental state. The reason Brian chose to deliver the information to Joseph in an extreme way was to have Joseph halt the development of the opium cessation drug. But actually, he could have approached me directly to convey his concerns. No wonder 3 years ago, Watson Pharmacy ceased all operations related to opium cessation drugs. Is it necessary to keep such things from me? Brian wanted to develop opium cessation drugs, but ended up creating a new addictive substance. That's why he didn't want you to know about it. Mopsing and strychnine. Highly toxic alkaloid. Was Brucine involved Brian's work at all? I still think that Brian was... Yeah, because Shen's conclusion is that Brian was being poisoned and took his own life to convey this information to Joseph. We have wasted too much time on Mr. Shen's personal affairs. Now that the facts are clear, we should shift our focus back to the current case. Mr. Shen, you intend to persist in pursuing your brother's case. Evil Shen. We'll answer this question next time, though. Until then.